Are you a business owner and want to highlight your business? Call 727-318-2956. Let's highlight your business and captivate Southern Colorado's largest group of spenders. They're active consumers looking for your services. To advertise with Wake and Bake America on Blazin' 98.5, that's right, your morning show, call 727-318-2956 or email us at bakeamerica@gmail.com. Advertise with your morning show because it's simple, smart business, and it works. 727-318-2956, and let's start your ad campaign today.
And welcome to this episode of Politically Stoned. I'm your boy, Mr. Trey. And of course, it is the episode Anybody But Biden. We've brought in a conservative from Louisiana who may not know who he's voting for yet, but he's made it very clear that his intention would be to not vote for Joe Biden regardless. And this is a concept that I can certainly understand because I personally am not going to vote for Donald Trump. Now, I don't know. Here's my thing is I've invoked my right as a radio host to endorse Joe Biden. And I think that for the listeners of Politically Stoned in this episode, it should be clear that you know where I stand before I interview somebody so that you know that I am absolutely fair to them. So first off, I am basically I look at this election as a referendum against Trump. Now, whether I'll vote for Joe Biden or Joe Jorgensen, I'll be voting for somebody named Joe. Hey, that's fair, right? That's fair. So, but at the end of the day, my guest today is exactly a great word for him would be a counterpart to my opinion. And what I mean by that is that he is in the same exact boat as me. And since he's I'm a fan of his fishing. I need to hang out with this guy and go fishing. But I promise you, we wouldn't be talking about no politics. We'd be talking about some big mouth, small mouth bassetics. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is that, you know, I've learned a lot this season from listeners. And one thing I've learned is don't let politics ruin your friendship. Medicated Cajun and I, aka Newbie, he and I can absolutely have the same exact idea, but the answer to that idea be completely different, i.e. anybody but blank. That's our idea this time around is anybody but blank. But my boy Medicated Cajun says anybody but Biden. I say anybody but Trump. This is going to be a great episode, and this is exactly why for our Year of the Voter and our dedicating our show to the voter and to the fan, one of the great things about this season and this episode and has been and all these episodes have been that we've really heard how America feels. And I'm going to tell you before he even comes on here, and I think you're going to see this, is that I really believe that we are not as divided as we come off. I truly believe that we are a lot of the times in the same boat, but we're on the opposite. You know, one of us is at the bow and the other one's at the stern. You feel me? And so we all, I think, have some form of ideology that's very similar. It's what makes us Americans. It's what makes us countrymen. But even within a country, men don't always agree. I think it's a little unfair to think otherwise. As in tradition, this is Politically Stoned, so key operative stone. So we got to take a toke. I've actually brought some great stuff with me today. I have my Rick and Morty beaker bong. It has to be a beaker. He's a scientist, for crying out loud. So I have my Rick and Morty beaker bong. Beaker-shaped bong. I have, of course, just to be cleared, I have Apothecary Farms. Dabs Apothecary Farms is a paid advertiser on this show, but I also pay for my product from them, which tells you a lot about their product because I don't even ask for free. I'm like, yeah, I'll pay for it, bro. It's good. And also today I've brought a little Sky High edible. Sky High concentrates, peanut butter and banana. 200 milligram THC distillate infused white chocolate candy bar. Yummy, yummy, yum. Love this stuff. And I've brought it because it really helps me on tough nights sleep like a baby. And I love that. And I just wanted, they don't pay me. So I wanted to give them a shout out. You know, maybe one day we can work out something and we can start paying Trey. You know what I'm saying? Sky High concentrates, come talk to your boy. And if you're interested in advertising on the show, feel free to absolutely hit us up. info@wake, the letter N, bakeamericashow.com. I think you'll be very surprised. We have price ranges that range from $300 all the way up to $600 to $1,000 a month in advertisement packages, guys. You want to get with this. And also, you can also exclusively advertise on our podcast channel. In our podcast shows like Politically Stoned and No Rules, which No Rules airs in the winter and spring season, and then of course Politically Stoned airs over the summer. And Podcast P and I are looking to start our sports podcast this year called Everything and the Football. I don't know. We're gonna come up with something. We haven't figured out a name for it yet. We got a few ideas though, but at the end of the day, we are hoping that there's something to talk about for that show. Otherwise, the entire show might be what we don't have to talk about. But, at the end of the day, though, guys, let's get to it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take a quick break, some words from our sponsors, and then we're going to get our buddy Newbie, a.k.a. Medicated Cajun, on the line, and we're going to start talking a little bit about, the great stuff that's going on and where this man stands and what he wants you to hear from his perspective on this 2020 election. It's your voice, America, and it's your vote, and we're here to support that. I'll be right back after the break. It's Mr. Trey with Politically Stoned.
Come celebrate fitness in Colorado Springs for Crunch Fitness. For no judgments and several solutions. It's crunch time for the new you. Bulk up, trim down, or just rock out to your favorite playlist. Crunch Fitness are more than just incredible facilities. They employ instructors, trainers, and staff that live for your post-workout high fives. Crunch out one more year of rep or join your healthy year. Already in progress at Crunch Fitness, 1801 Academy or crunch.com.
By now, you gotta know that CBD won't get you high. But did you know that not all CBD is the same? That's why I always call Gold Care CBD at 719-510-8732. Gold Care CBD takes the care to hand make all their products with systems that give you maximum compounds, vitamins, and minerals. Give Gold Care CBD a call at 719-510-8732 or stop by Gold Care CBD located in the Safeway Shopping Center on Fountain and Murray. The gold standard of CBD is Gold Care CBD. 719-510-8732.
And we're back from break. I'm, of course, Mr. Trey. This is Politically Stoned. And we have our guest on the line. Our guest today brought to you by Apothecary Farms. When it comes to the best in concentrates, you want the best in Colorado, and that's Apothecary Farms. With 3 locations across the Front Range, you can't go wrong. So stop by Pueblo, Denver, or right here in Colorado Springs for the best that Apothecary Farms has to offer. And if you listen to our show outside of the state or the country, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You just can't do that, and that sucks. But we're working on it for you. So I have a buddy of mine who's a fan of the show, watches the show quite a bit, Medicated Cajun. That's his name on Instagram. Of course, he goes by Newbie. And Newbie, so I'm going to call you Noobs. I just like that. I played video games a lot. So
Got it.
My buddy here, Newbie, he's by the way, a great angler. I am such a fan of his fishing trips. No lie about that. And I tell you, the thing about him is that he's a very interesting person because he's a lot like myself that I think you vote a lot on referendum, meaning anybody but the person you don't care for, right? And that's a referendum vote is you're like, that guy's less or girl's less worse than the person I don't like. You know what I mean? I explained to you guys before he got on the show that he and I are kind of like on the same side of the fence, but on opposite ends of the candidates here. He's like, anybody but Biden. I'm like, anybody but Trump. We may have ideological differences, but I've always found to come to a center with him, especially on one thing, understanding, which is what you guys should have with your friends. But the second thing is not only understanding where you're coming from, but also the second thing is fishing. like I don't care who the hell you vote for. I just want to go fishing with you. So let's get straight to it. Obviously, like I said, when you say anybody but blank, my first thought is, okay, so he is essentially taking the stance of a referendum against an individual. When you say anybody but, I mean, I feel the same way about Trump. It's a referendum against that individual. Right. I disagree with him ideologically, right? Boom, done, too easy. Right. So talk a little bit about why you're in that position of anybody but Biden. By the way, hold on. He is a conservative Louisiana man who likes to fish. So, I mean, there may be, the word conservative may be why it's anybody but Biden. Let him explain that.
Well, I mean, I don't quite like the way Biden feels about gun laws. Number one.
Okay, that's a
the
fair
way he wants
statement. A lot of people don't care too much for Democrats in a sense because of their stance on guns. I think Biden is a pro-gun, anti-automatic weapon guy is basically a good way to describe him.
Well, and if that's the issue, then they need to ban like the tax stamps for fully automatic weapons, because you and I, assuming that we have a federal tax stamp and go get fully automatic weapons, we can get silencers for weapons, and all we got to do is pay and pay a tax stamp on every weapon or upgrade that silencer that we purchase.
So
now, with
if
that
you want
being
it,
said,
you just got to pay way fucking more, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. A lot of people that I know and hunt with own a lot of these weapons. I'm 300 Blackouts, Night Optics. I'm saying all you gotta do is pay the money.
Yeah,
like I said, you have to have a clean background.
Yeah,
it's not the weapons. But it's what I'm getting at is it's not the weapons, so to speak, that makes the gun dangerous. It's the people behind it. You understand what I'm saying? Now, do we need better vetting on who we allowing to get guns? Of course, all day. You understand what I'm saying?
The loophole. There's some loopholes out there that people
to carry guns and wear badges.
Yeah, there's loopholes out there. There's loopholes out there, and I get it.
I need to be tightened up.
I tell people all the time, if you ever get charged with a felony and you're on a deferred sentence, right? You're going to pay a fuck ton of money to get your name off a list that you shouldn't be on anyway if you completed your deferred sentence, right? Now, this is absolving, let's go, since we're getting into guns, let's throw out violent offenders because they can't have them. Nope, sorry. Let's throw out DVs, domestic violence. But domestic violence, I'm open to a re-review of a domestic violence offender after 5 years and then again at 7 or 10. And the reason why is because, they were not charged with a felony. If you couldn't charge them with a felony and you could only hit them with misdemeanor domestic violence, I mean, you could tell your wife, fuck you, bitch. You now are charged with domestic violence, verbal assault. And because it's your wife, it's domestic. And if I would have told the guy next door, go fuck you, bitch, then I don't even get a charge. But because it's my wife, I now get charged with a crime that prevents gun carrying. So I think those individuals deserve a review at least after 5 years.
Agreed. 100% agreed. 100%.
You get lumped into that shit. You get lumped into domestic violence, whether you say something to somebody or you hit somebody, and I just don't think you can equate the two together. That's a little unfair.
Without a doubt, yeah, for sure.
By the way, I am pro-gun, but I'm also pro-responsible gun, too.
Yeah, without a doubt. Man, ain't nothing safer than a responsible gun owner. You know what I'm saying? They're looking out for everybody's good interest.
People have heard me say this, and I'll say it clearly on this show, that while I am Second Amendment lover, pro-gun, but I do not support nor back DNRA. And that should explain to you pretty clearly where I stand. That's a simple answer. I love guns. I do not support the NRA. They proactively actually worked against minority gun ownership in the 70s, and they've really haven't moved past that. And I feel like they've really just allowed that to infest them just in a way that shouldn't be, in a sense. And I'm just like, I don't need to be part of a gun owner group to keep my gun rights anyway. I don't. I'm not paying somebody else.
Without a doubt.
I'm not paying somebody to lobby for something that I don't agree with anyway. Sometimes. They do lobby for stuff I agree with, though. I mean, to be fair to them.
And they're fully for your
dang it.
Anyways, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why I won't associate or tie myself with any of these cannabis groups in the state, man, because they all have their own agendas.
You know what's funny is that's why I'm like, I'm part of the cannabis community, but I'm not part of cannabiscommunity.org, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
I believe Black Lives Matter, but I'm not part of the organization Black Lives Matter.
Right. No, without a doubt.
I believe
like everybody.
To be fair, I believe all lives matter, but I'm not part of any white nationalist group that started that shit either.
No, I feel like I feel like we all have our voice. We all need to speak up for ourselves, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. By the way, shout out to Podcast P on the live feed. I just want to give him a shout out. He's the one I do my sports show with that we're going to have to talk about nothing all fall. I'm salty. You know I'm a salty bitch. I'm a diehard football fan, college and pro, and amateur and semi-pro. I'll go watch a Little League game if there's one being played down the street just because it's something to do. Like, I love football, man. I used to go to the high school across the street from my apartment in Florida and just pay $5 to go in and watch a bunch of kids I'd never see again in my life just because it was something to do on a Saturday afternoon. I went over there and paid $5 to watch the freshman C squad in Florida at Boca Ciega High School, man. I was out there watching the C squad. So, back to the politics of it. So obviously, you really have you've done what I've done, and you've cornered yourself into a corner with two candidates. Then you have Trump and you have Jorgensen. Really, I mean, that's really the two leading candidates. And then there's a third candidate you can always write in yourself. I don't believe, like, you know, I put up a poll about this. I don't believe that writing yourself in is stupid. Sometimes it can be stupid, but it's not always stupid. If you don't like anybody, write yourself in. Don't waste your vote in a sense of just not voting. Go vote in protest by putting yourself in. That's what I say. But otherwise, you're cornered like I am, and you have to pick one of two candidates you left yourself with, right? So let's talk about these two candidates. So you got Jorgensen, who's a libertarian, and then you have Trump, who is I've always said he's not really a conservative, but whatever, he's on their ticket. He's not a true conservative of the meaning of what a real conservative is. I have friends that I love to death that are true conservatives, and they're not Donnie T for sure. But at the end of the day, though, I think that he's good for conservatives in a sense of his tax laws have absolutely helped, you know, wealthy conservative capitalism, right? It's a fact. You know, I tell people all the time is I like capitalism too because I like money and I don't mind getting paid. So I'm not, you know, I tell people just because I don't like Donald Trump doesn't mean I hate capitalism. Hell no. You know, so when it comes to Jorgensen and Trump, where are you at between these two? And then, of course, the most important question that people are going to want to hear is why?
Okay, so I guess I don't really know much about the other Joe, honestly, because I've been so focused on. Yes, sir.
Okay, she's a libertarian, right?
Right. As far as I know, libertarian. The only libertarians I really know focus on the UBI, Universal Basic Income. This candidate's into that. I don't believe in that one bit. I think that's a failed system before it would even start. Okay. I believe 100% Donald Trump dropped the ball on a lot of things and probably showed everybody that somebody who's not in the politics shouldn't jump right into presidency. You know what I'm saying?
I think you are very fair in saying that it's not that he couldn't do the job. I don't think he understood the job.
Correct.
I'm not going to sit there and tell you a man can't do a job, but I can tell you that a dude who's doing a job does not understand what he got himself into.
Right. Maybe he should have worked himself up the pole. You know what I'm saying?
Like a stripper, right
up
the pole.
State politics. Right. I'm hoping that's what that fella Billy Nungas is doing, man. I'm hoping he's trying to work his way up. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people feel that way about Justin Amash too, who's really just a conservative who's left the party because he's tired of the dick shit. I actually like him. He's, you're never going to win me over on pro-choice versus pro-life, right? Like, that is a fundamental difference. Like, you are a conservative. You are, I guarantee, most likely, you might not be, but there's it's like a 90, 85% chance that you are pro-life because you're a conservative. By virtue. And I tell people that I actually used to be a registered Republican, grew up in a conservative family. My grandfather's a Republican. And the thing that changed me from being a Republican is that I when I thought about pro-life, and I'll tell you, or pro-choice versus pro-life, to me, pro-life is just wanting to stop people from making maybe a bad decision, right? I get that. For me, pro-choice is letting them have that choice to make a bad decision if that's the way you see it. Like, I'm like, listen, I'm not going to tell nobody go have no damn abortion. Listen, that is a decision left up to that individual in my eyes. But at the same time, like I tell people, I'm not pro-abortion. I'm just pro-choice because I want the choice to do what I want with my body, and to be free, you have to say everybody else can be free too. That's the only reason I'm pro-choice.
Well, see, in the same breath, though. Well, then don't get mad if people don't choose to wear a mask. You know what I'm saying? I wear a mask when I'm out in public, but in the same breath, hearing all that, it's like, okay, well then, you know what I'm saying? Now, you could say, well, it's affecting my body too because it's.
That's what I was about to tell you. Is the fundamental difference is that right there? You could be impacting someone else.
We all know abortion. You're affecting another life, one way or another. Whether it be, well, at this age of development, it's not considered life, but at this age, it does have a heartbeat. We could consider that life. In my eyes, anything with a heartbeat is alive. Because if the heart's not beating, I don't got to shoot it again. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, so that's actually a pretty Hunter way of looking at it. Yeah. If you're dead, you're dead. And if you're not, if I don't got to shoot you to kill you. But and that's what I get. Right. And that's why I tell everybody is I come off as a libertarian, even though I'm not a libertarian, because I'm like, here's my thing is I think you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want with your body. And until your kid's born, technically it's in you. It's yours. It's part of you. It's not its own thing yet. So it's yours to do with what you will. However, it doesn't mean that I'm okay. It's a complicated situation because I can't sit there and tell people do what you want with your body. But you can't do that. Right. Because the minute you put one thing on it, it's now no longer freedom. That's the tough part of that situation. And then I see ideological. Well, no, look at check it out. Down south, it's the Bible Belt, right? So there's an ideological difference on that too there. And then you go to places that, maybe down south, it's like 80% of the people go to church. And then you go like over and in rural communities, like 80% of people go to church. But when you go to the city, it's more like 60-40. You know what I mean? At best. So I think that it just creates a minor ideological difference based on geographical differences as well. And also rooted differences. The South is very religious. You're not going to get a lot of people in the South that are, even Democrats in the South aren't like, go have an abortion. They just understand my body, my choice. Whether you're a man or a woman, you want to do what you want with your body. That's why I always laugh. I always go, Democrats on abortion are just libertarians. Let's be honest.
Well, I feel like the choice should have been made, before conception took place. Like, all right, listen, if you want to have pleasure, like, you should make the choice. You're grown. There's plenty of birth control, options. There's plenty of toys. You know what I'm saying? Play with a toy, not a life.
There's responsibilities.
Right, without a doubt.
And then we get back into...
My thing is this. Women, some women have been known to use abortion over men's heads. You understand what I'm saying?
Fair enough. I don't think a woman should tell you that she's pregnant. Check this out. Right. I don't think a woman should tell you she's pregnant until she plans to keep it. Fair enough.
Right. Out of spite, with the man having no choice in it, I believe that's bull, dude. You know what I'm saying?
I know about spiteful women. I've got an ex-wife. Trust me. Believe me when I know. When I say I know. I know.
Thing is this. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, let's say like this. If my wife didn't want to have the baby, you know what I'm saying? I should at least have the option to want to have the baby after the baby is born.
And now back to ideological differences. A woman.
I mean, we can go on.
And that's just it. Is because I already know the woman. I already know every woman's argument to the other side of that is that I don't give a shit until that baby's born. I don't have to have that baby.
Yeah, without a doubt. And listen,
that's their argument every time.
I don't want to ruffle any feathers or. Saying I respect women in such a different way.
Absolutely. But then again, like I said, that's why I said
that their role is underplayed, yo.
So here's the thing: this is why I tell people, they don't
female body is underrepresented.
Oh, absolutely. And women. And here's the thing: is for conservatives and liberals alike, or even moderates in the middle, libertarians over here, it doesn't matter. Every one of them doesn't have to sacrifice that ideological difference. But this is where we get into referendums versus like insertions. Here's my thing is I truly believe that even a conservative like yourself, based on ideological concrete, we're talking foundational things, right? Like my foundational thing is my body, my choice. I'm not even talking about women, goddammit. I'm talking about me. That's a foundational thing for me.
Right.
Well, for conservatives, a foundational thing for them is for instance, like abortion, the abortion stuff, right? So here's the thing is I truly believe that a lot of conservatives absolutely publicly do not like Trump at all. A lot. I bet his base isn't even 40 fucking percent, dude. I bet his base is probably more like 25. It's actually pathetically low. I guarantee it. And here's why. Because when you start getting into ideological differences, me personally, I start thinking, well, even if I thought somebody was a prick, right? Biden, for instance, I don't like his stance on pot. Right? But I'd still vote for him because despite his stance on pot, I know that he'll select judges that will keep my body as a man or woman, regardless, as my choice, right? Well, conservatives are like, look, even if Trump's a fucking dick, we're talking about 15, maybe 20% of the conservatives that are part of his alleged base that I don't really believe are his base at all, right? He will put conservative judges on the bench, will he not?
Right. In the same breath, I feel like passed on like his crime bill. We all know where Biden is on his theory on the war of drugs.
And he's gonna. Are you gonna fix that? Are you gonna fix that shit, or are we gonna see Crime Bill 94 Part 2? That's an honest question by conservatives and moderates, moderate independents like myself are like, well, honestly, he has some things that I really truly believe are good things about him, and mainly because he's a father of a soldier and things like that, right? Like I think these are great ideas of his. But then I also go, he and I abso-fucking-lutely have an ideological difference on goddamn pot, dude. Seriously. So here's the thing about Trump is I think a lot of conservatives, whether they have ideological differences with Trump himself as a human, right? Like, you fucked around on your wife, or this, or that, or, I'm going to call him a Christian in front of my friends, but he's really not. And I know it in my heart, right? So here's the thing is, but what will he do? He will put conservative judges on the bench, and that's what matters to Republicans. So they're willing to bite the bullet on that. And I believe that. And the funny thing is, the Democrats will point the finger at you guys and say you're doing that when I know that they would do the same thing. I know for a fact that there were more moderate Democrats in the Bill Clinton era that still kept Bill Clinton in office despite despising what he did to essentially make the Oval Office a little less holy, if you would.
Right.
Because I can't fault the man for getting his dick sucked. Look, I can't do that. I like getting my dick sucked. Excuse me for fucking liking getting your dick sucked. However, I really don't think you should be getting your dick sucked at work by somebody who's not your wife in the highest office of the country. That seems a little not fucking cool.
Right. No doubt.
But a human, he's flawed as a human like they all are. That's the truth. I mean, it doesn't matter what candidate they throw in front of us. None of them are ever going to be perfect for us. I don't believe that for a second. Even Jo Jorgensen, ideologically, from some foundational standpoints, I agree with her completely. But there's some things that I'm just like,
And see, and that stuck though. I mean, we know there's no chance that there's even going to be a third party win. So why would you even vote that way?
And now you're
getting your name in.
Whoever this one is 404 that's commenting on our live feed here said it's kind of sad that we are stuck with that we feel basically they're saying that they feel like we're stuck with the choice of Biden or Trump, and this is truly a truth to what I've learned over this.
That was last election, was it not? With Hillary and Trump.
Dude, let's be honest. Hillary Clinton was Hillary Clinton was somewhat stay the course, but not really, because her and Barack Obama were not ideologically the same. But it was somewhat stay the course of the healthcare plan and a few things, right? But with Hillary and Trump, nobody was looking at like Jill Stein, for example, right? I think she was the Green Party one, if I remember right. Nobody was looking at the Libertarian candidate. Everybody felt like they had to vote for Trump or Hillary, right? And I got a lot of friends who are not going to vote for Donald Trump this time around that really did vote for Donald Trump because of things like Benghazi and her dropping the ball on Benghazi. And actually, ironically enough, they're not willing to vote for Trump for dropping the ball on things like the pandemic in their eyes, And so I think that it's kind of fascinating when you look at some of what we refer to commonly as the moderates or the silent majority, the middle guys, where they're going to swing this time around. But I just wondered, has Trump really just shot himself in the foot, though? Because, dude, I get why people are going to vote for him from...
I believe so.
I believe so. Hear me out, though. I believe that people are going to still vote for him because of ideological differences with the other side. Stuff like pro-life versus pro-choice, stuff like the healthcare plan or whatever, the Affordable Care Act, stuff like ideological differences.
Pro-life, pro-choice thing that has no weight on presidential election to me. That can
for
be
you,
held
for
up
you,
at state level.
Hold on, can I just say this
For me,
for you?
personally.
But I've literally talked to tons of Republicans that go, listen, I don't like him, but he's going to put conservative judges on the bench, and that matters to me more than anything he's going to, fuck up.
I'm worried about cannabis laws, Second Amendment laws.
And you know what's ironic is so am I, because one thing that does frustrate me about Colorado is there's a law here that you can't have a concealed weapons permit if you have a weed license. And that's fuck shit. There's nothing preventing me from getting a fucking concealed weapons permit as if I'm on fucking opiates, barbiturates, anything it's. Why is it weed?
Right. That's what I'm saying. They talk about, you got to give up. In Louisiana, they're planning on taking people's guns for the weed. They was giving me 300-something pills a month. Ain't nobody checked on my well-being or my gun.
And here's your gun. If you fucking shoot yourself in the face because your pills, sorry for you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no way, yo.
So you told me that you tend to vote based off of military stuff, like funding and such for the military, right? Explain why. You need to explain why.
Oh, now, listen, I said in the past.
Used to. That's what I said. Used to.
Yeah, because I was in the military.
Thank you for your service. I was setting you up for that. Thank you for your service.
I appreciate it. It was short-lived. I was hurt on base, man. I got the raw end of a stick.
I know about that. You've heard my story about getting shot down because of a knee injury in high school, and after spending your whole high school career in ROTC.
Right. Well, yeah. Look, we another, and I didn't have a 4-wheeler license to be on it, but I had full permit. Saying instead of master sergeant getting in trouble, it was easier for me to get in trouble. But anyways,
we could definitely do a show on that another time.
Yeah, right.
That's a can of worms.
I have a very good understanding of threat perception, use of force, all of that. I mean, I'm live fire trained, simunition trained with the New York State Police SWAT team. I've done some pretty high speed training, man.
That's fun. That sounds fun, man. I'm actually about to train with a guy who's a former SOCOM op guy, and he's going to be training me on just straight pistoleering, bro. And I'm a cold shot, but he's going to train me on, like, I told him, I said, to me, gun learning is a lot like fighting. You might be a good fighter, but there's a right way to do it.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I was a good fighter in the streets, but when I learned how to actually square up and box, that's when I got skilled.
Right. Yeah, I've always been around guns, always hunting, always fishing.
My dad.
Things like that. When I got in the military and was a little better honed in on skills, man, it was a whole different ball game. You know what I'm saying? But I believe Second Amendment's important, man, and it's key.
Absolutely. Here's the thing is, I keep telling
I think people.
Sorry, you first.
Get the wrong idea. Yeah, I'm sorry, man, but I really think this is important. I think people get the wrong idea on these guns, these AR-15s, whatever they want to call them. These guns were designed to wound people. They wasn't designed to kill. That's why they're a smaller caliber than an AK-47. When the military thought them up, they thought it would be easier to, if they wound one person, now it's 2 people off the battlefield because somebody else got to drop their gun to help the wounded. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Conceptually more humane, I guess.
They hold a certain amount of rounds I think that's irrelevant. People say they don't need that for hunting, but people don't go. You don't want to be in the woods with 4 bullets, 12 pigs. You need 5 bullets to kill each pig.
Right.
Trust me.
You talking about them damn hogs and wild hogs, you ain't playing. So
yeah, I mean, we go, but I mean, it's not the guns, man. Guns have been around since before this country's even been founded.
Guns been around since the dawn of gunpowder, really. Fired projectiles.
Go along with. I think they go along with these medicines. You know what I'm saying? That they're giving people. I think it goes along with broken families, broken homes.
Okay, that's
a lot of that.
If you go look at the last, these kids that are shooting up schools and all this horse shit. A lot of these people they do paint a pretty picture on the outside, but I think if you tear down psychologically those homes, they're not as pretty as people think by far.
Right, without a doubt, and you should be able to know the difference, man. It should be a little more involved than just filling out a piece of paper something to that degree. But as far as stopping them and not letting them.
Well, let me go on the other side of that real quick and go. But what's also unfair is that I know several people back to the deferred sentences, back to doing what's been asked of you to get out of trouble, right? And you get all the way out of trouble, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can have your guns back." Listen, I'm talking from experience. They told me, "Hey, you have completed your deferred sentence, so you are now a misdemeanor instead of a felony. Now I've earned all my civil rights back, right? All of them." Now, I could already vote anyway because here you can vote on probation, right? But so I've earned all my rights back, right? If I walk into a goddamn pawn shop and go to buy a gun, right? Run the background, the goddamn federal system still has me on there as a felon. You have to pay money to an attorney. You have to pay money to an attorney to get off that list. Now here's the thing is, I can possess, carry right on my hip a gun. I wasn't charged with a violent crime. It's actually a minor drug offense. You know what I mean? So I wasn't charged with a violent offense. I can carry my gun again. But the catch is, and the shitty part is that, but I have to either now go build one to circumvent really just a dickhead list, but I have to go build one to circumvent that list, and or I have to be gifted one from my wife. It's so stupid. And it's like, listen, you're not preventing me from doing anything. You're just making it a pain in the ass, asshole. Thanks.
I couldn't buy my fishing license at the store because I got a flag on my driver's license for unpaid ticket.
In Colorado, they'll take your fishing license, which is a way to hang out with your kids, by the way, if you're behind on child support, even during COVID.
That's crazy.
I've been doing all my fishing on private land because of that. Because dude, I went to school for fucking a year and a half in my 30s, dude. That put me behind easy by $10,000 in child support. So they call me up and they're like, we'll sidebar for a second before we go to break, and then we're going to come back and get right back on Trump and Biden and Jorgensen. But so a quick sidebar. I told them, hey, I'm in school, man. Like, can we get this thing a break, lower down or whatever? So they stalled me out. Never, I get behind by like $10,000, and then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you're behind. Let's take and this is what they do in Colorado. Let's take your license. That's a way to pick up your kids and work. Let's take your fishing license. That's something to do with your kids. Let's make your life basically to where all you really can do is work instead of taking care of your kids. And the amount of child support they said here is it's phenomenal. Like the state of Colorado literally at the age of like 26 put me in debt for the rest of my life. If I ever lost my job, and trust me, bro, this economy, come on now, I've lost my job 10 times in the last 10 years. Shit, I lost 3 jobs in 1 year.
One of the biggest scams, Joe.
Bro, child support is a scam. Tell me how I got my youngest kid, his mom, she worries about her own thing. She does her own thing. She takes care of her own shit. Calls me up. Yo, the kid needs shoes. What does I do? Boom, hit the shoe store. Hits me up. Yo, kid needs a haircut. Okay, next time he come down, we'll take him to the shop. Boom, haircut. Hey, kid needs a set of clothes. No problem. Next time you come, we take him down to this and get him some clothes. Dude, it's easy. But the problem is that requires 2 people to act like adult co-parenting, because there are dickheads out there that don't do their job. And that's the problem though. But let's go right back to domestic violence, the example we use there, that you have domestic violence offenders who have cussed at their wife and lost their gun rights in the same bucket pool as domestic violence offenders who have beat the fuck out of their wife and ended up in prison. They're in the same boat though. They're not even close to equal. Not even close.
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, this is like essential to, I always tell everybody, this is like equivalent to like where they've equated sending a dick pic to actual sexual assault, which I feel like diminishes how serious sexual assault is.
Well, that's like the same thing with the guns. It's like when you fill out the paperwork, have you had any run-ins with the law? Have you ever been arrested?
Yes.
You might put no, dude, but that does not mean you got a good heart and you need to have a gun. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It just because you've never been in
all the wrong route.
Because you've never been, and I like to say held accountable, because maybe you've had a run with the law and got off. But if you've never been held accountable by the law, it doesn't mean that you're a good person. And every person who's been held accountable by the law doesn't mean that they're a bad person forever. America's supposed to be the land of second chances, and your second chance doesn't include a real full second chance. Right. And I'm not even talking about myself. I beat the system by completing the probation, right? I beat the system. Fair enough. But But there's people out there that didn't even get a chance to beat the system. For whatever reason, the district attorney offered them a plea deal that made them a permanent felon on a nonviolent offense, right? So now I stole $500 from my grandma because I'm a piece of shit at the time, but I'm not really a bad person, and I learned my lesson, and I went and I worked it out with counseling, family, whatever, paid granny back and some, whatever. But so now for the rest of my life, I'm flagged as a bad person, a thief. In places like Florida, I'm not even allowed to vote ever again because Florida won't come off this fuck shit that once you've completed your time, you can never vote again. What the fuck? How do you repay your debt to society?
I thought Louisiana was the same way. I might be wrong though.
No,
they
may be.
In Louisiana, you can own guns either after being a felon.
But you can?
I don't think so.
Oh, I was like, I don't think you can. I was like, because it's not even Louisiana. That's a federal thing. But again, when we talk about being a felon, you can't be tried and convicted as a felon and then get a deferred sentence, because if you take it to trial, you won't have a deferred sentence, obviously, right? But you can be charged, convicted as a felon, and then that felony no longer be a felony. And the system won't, essentially, they don't care to update themselves. They don't care to make it right. And then in Colorado, if you have a weed license, I think they block you from buying a gun too. Because, dude, I've been free and clear for 2 or 3 years now, and they still got me blocked. And I think it's because I have a weed card. And I've had a weed card for like a decade. Actually longer, I think. Yeah, I think it's been like, goddamn, time flies, bro. So
I can't get one in my state, yo. I ain't worried about it.
Why? Man. Hold on, wait. Oh, wait, Louisiana? Never mind.
Yeah, say no more. I'm not allowed in the program before it got started off, really.
Why?
Don't worry about them.
What's the blocking
factor? Because I got into they say I'm a problem to the program. I don't agree with it.
Okay, so because you disagree with the way the program's running, you're now not allowed to participate despite the only qualification being a medical reason? What?
Oh, I guess. I don't know. I kicked up a lot of shit with them doctors.
You seem like somebody who might start some shit. I know about starting shit just to start shit because you don't like the system.
No. I mean, it wasn't even that. If they could have just answered a few questions, man, it would have been one thing. But they couldn't, and it turned into a whole other thing. I mean, you can't make me out a bad guy for asking questions publicly.
You want to bet?
You understand what I'm saying?
You want to bet?
Well, yeah, no doubt. Right.
I know all about that.
Right. But that's why.
But I get what you mean. I get your purpose. You're like, you shouldn't be, though. That's the point.
Yeah, right. Well, no, but I mean, it turned bad, man. They signed me up for like little online pharmacies to get updates about pills. They would, haggle me about my little addiction issues in the past. They started talking shit to my wife about me and my children and her. What else? Threatened to have me pulled over, set up, and taken to jail. All of this bullshit, man. It's all, yeah, right. So this was all around the time when my son was being born, man. That's why I kind of just kicked back from worrying about all of that. I mean, I really don't bitch about the state of the program or none of that. I try to turn my focus to my family and enjoy my baby right now. You know what I'm saying?
One of our listeners says that I'm pretty sure in Rhode Island it's legal to own a gun and weed card. And I'll tell you that there are quite a few states, like I believe Michigan's the same too, where you can have a weed card and own guns. I believe that Colorado really did that to appease see, what people don't realize is in Colorado, the whole in Colorado, you can't have a concealed weapons permit and have a weed card. I'm telling you right now, that is some dirty ass, down low, sneak dick shit behind even the NRA's back that Republicans and fucking Democrats in this state low key fucking agreed to back in 2012. And it's some fucking bullshit. Now listen, I can't have a concealed weapons permit again. I won't qualify because if you're charged and convicted of a felony, even if you get a deferred sentence like I did, because I pled guilty. I didn't get convicted. I pled guilty. There's a difference. So because of that pleading guilty, it's taking ownership. They give you a deferred sentence, bada bada bing, bada boom, right? But because I actually pled guilty to a felony, I don't believe, from what I read on if I understood the rules correctly, I don't believe I'll ever qualify for a concealed weapons permit. But I live in a state that's open carry, so I don't give a shit. I'll just put that bitch right on my hip. I want you to know it's there. Don't bring a knife to a gunfight, kiddo.
Right. Yeah, Louisiana's open carry. I am worried about no concealed weapons permit, nothing like that.
I don't care about
I don't have a small arm.
I'm not trying to hide what I got. I just don't, like I tell people, I don't take pictures of I'll take a picture of my clip and like send it to a buddy, but I'm not even I don't want my gun on like picture. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. Like I don't need them. They don't need to know what, look, they take our taxes and we don't even get to know what they have. Like they take our taxes and we can't even ask them what they bought with some of that shit, right? We're not even like people don't understand. There's a law out there that the government passed that they could take our money, spend it on black programs, and never tell us about it, and you can't ask about it. That's some fuck shit.
They got all our money anyways.
Yeah. So I'm like, I ain't telling you what I got then.
I mean, go ask them about their military spending. They're not going to tell you what they did with it.
No.
Refund.
They're never going to tell you what they did with their money. But anyway, let's do this. So let's get back to this because I know you and I, man, we'll go on. Ooh, that get us on a tangent. See, this is why I tell people we're not as divided as you think, because even though he and I don't think the other person's the right person for the job, the one thing we do think is a lot of shit's the same. I tell people, I think America is absolutely together on the idea that what the major problems are. You know what I mean? Like, I know that a lot of racist people are going to say racism's not a problem. Well, that's because you're racist, obviously, right? And I know some people just don't want it to be a problem, so then they're going to say it's not a problem, right? And then I know that some people are going to say everything's racist when it's really not. Let's be honest. It's just what it is. So yeah, there's division there. But when you look in that division, there's a whole heap of the people saying there's still a problem there, though. Who's at fault?
Oh, yeah.
How to fix it? So this is the thing with a lot of the issues in America. I think a lot of us view it very much this way. This is the problem. There's not a whole lot of disagreement in there, just a little bit, but not a whole lot as what the problem is. Now, the split and the divide comes with how you deal with it and who's qualified or who's the best person for the job. In your eyes, you say that's Trump. What's your pitch on Trump, really?
Well, no. In my eyes, I won't say, I don't think we have anybody qualified to run the White House right now.
Now you sound like a lot of my libertarian friends.
You know what I'm saying? I feel 100% bad for saying that.
No, but you know what? I got a lot of friends
Biden,
that say get rid of the government.
I think the problem is this. Biden, he's got too much time in the politics, man, and way too much. And he's done nothing positive or impactful in a good way for anybody as a whole. Wait. Especially a minority group.
Can I hit a pause button there for 1 second and say this? I won't say that he hasn't done anything impactful. Promise, because he was part of the Affordable Care Act, period, as a vice president. What I will say is this, that while he's done a lot of great things as a politician, to be fair to him, the most impactful things that seem to shine out to people aren't the good things he did, though. Yeah, they're not the good things he did. Like the 94 crime bill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hey. That for sure. I agree with that. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm like, everything Trump did ain't bad. It's just I don't like his tax plan and some other shit. And I don't like his judge appointments. But at the same time, a lot of my conservative brethren love his judge appointments.
But in the same breath, like I said, I think Biden had too much time in the politics.
And to be fair to you, I've grown about that a lot, about term limits.
Yeah, no, term limits is a real thing, for sure.
I don't think, listen,
I think term limits.
If you're not going to put an age limit on the presidency, then I don't think there should be an age minimum. And I do think that if the presidency, the goddamn leader of the free world, has term limits, why do not the people that are behind him, lower role? You know what I mean? No, politicians need to keep up with the times like everything else. Yeah. And they can't do that. People get stuck in there at a certain age. Can I call somebody out on this show that's actually very much stuck in his ways and a problem? Mitch McConnell. He won't move anything to do with cannabis forward, bro. He won't. So I'm like,
with John Bell. Nobody will in my state.
Dude, I'm like, listen,
No
I don't mind a GOP being the head of the Senate, a GOP Senate member, right? I don't mind that. That's not my problem. My problem is that individual decides what's brought to the floor to be debated in the first fucking place, right? So because of that, when it comes over from like the House, he can just sit on it and do nothing about it. I first off don't think that the Senate Majority Leader shouldn't have that much power and control to decide any law America's going to debate about. That seems a little ridiculous. I also feel the same way about Nancy Pelosi in the House. Her role, not her personally, I don't give a shit about her personally, but her role as Speaker of the House should not have that much power. Kanye West should never be president, but he has a great song that says no man should have that much power. Because it's true.
My boy said, "Did you hear Kanye registered?"
He dropped out of the presidential race. I said he needs a follow-up album, Presidential Dropout, the follow-up to College Dropout. I actually posted that 5 minutes after that article came out that he had dropped out the race. I was like, yo, when that Presidential Dropout album coming? Boy, I'll tell you what. Listen, the problem with people, I'll just hit that real quick and we'll move on to get back to Biden and Trump. But the problem for me personally with Kanye West is that you got to spend a few years off the crazy dick shit long enough for us to we're still weirded out that you just jumped on stage with a little white girl and like blew her up. Like, we're still bugging on that, bro. Like, we haven't moved on from that. And you're over here trying to run for president. Let that sink in. I'm like, maybe other people have, but I'm like, I don't really like when people are trashy, like that. Like, that bugs me.
No doubt. I mean,
but anyway, sorry, I'm not. I tell you, I'm not the Taylor Swift fan. I don't even play her music when I DJ at the country club. I promise you, I'm not a Taylor Swift fan to a degree of like in love with her music or her or nothing. But I'm just like, what? After that, I was like, I don't know how you could take this dude serious after he did her like that. Like, you have no manners. You have no manners or respect for someone else's.
You got to be able to hold your emotion back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I get, and the thing is, to be fair to him, what he was saying at the time, I get what he was saying. Like, if you looked at the whole situation, when he said Beyonce should be up there, I think it's who he said. If you look at the whole situation behind the scenes, he might have been right on saying that. But, bro, you don't blow that poor little girl up right then and there. She didn't decide she won that award. Somebody else did, bro. That's not cool.
Right.
That's not cool.
Right.
I could spend a year talking about things from the last 15, 20 years that's just been not cool, bro. Fuck, even I've done shit that wasn't cool. I've blown people up. I've blown people up, not been cool. We get beside ourselves, and it's always good to come back and have conversations like these with people who are literally on the same idea, but the opposite side of the room, And but anyway,
we're both teetering.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I'm looking at Joe Jorgensen. Except for I have that strong feeling that I feel like, do I want to vote for someone, or do I want my vote to be a referendum against someone else? And that's the decision I think I've been.
Here's my question.
Hit me.
Is the Electoral College putting as much thought into who they picking as we are into who we picking?
I hate the Electoral College. I think that's a scam. But anyway.
Right. I mean,
but no,
so
I don't.
We are, I don't.
I don't.
Are we going to beat ourselves up? Are we going to let politics really beat us up individually?
Well, here's the thing. I think the Supreme Court got cornered. And I'll explain why. The Supreme Court recently, I'm always up on the Supreme Court rulings. I love the law because you can wield that as a weapon against people when they talk their dumb shit, right? So the Supreme Court made a ruling that the Electoral College electorates must vote the way their state's people sent them to vote, right? Now, the reason why this is important is because Colorado got in the middle of this last election. We had an Electoral College appointed electoral official, right, that went and was voting for Trump when our state went to Clinton. Now, I'm not going to sit here and split hairs with you who we should have voted for. At the end of the day, the will of the people had been expressed through vote. That's the end of it. We don't have to like it. Their state's Trump won that I was like, damn, I didn't think he'd win that state, right? It's just the will of the people. Let it happen. It is what it is. But at the end of the day.
So
say it again.
That kicked up a notch for the election for me. I thought the Electoral College was going to just vote it the way they felt anyways.
So check this out. So because of that, though, the Supreme Court was faced with one of two choices. They either had to tell electoral members that you're not a rogue agent. You're not a free agent to do what you freely choose. You are appointed to represent other people who have put their vote in, and you are to vote that way. The Electoral College is to be ceremonious and not your decision, right? That was one decision, and that's what they went with, of course. The other decision, I like the middle finger because it's kind of great. They fucked us, by the way. I want you to know that. They fucked us by not taking the middle finger decision. So the middle finger decision is this. If they would have said that you don't have to vote the way the people say, then it would have literally delegitimized the Electoral College, and it would have literally empowered a lawsuit that ultimately probably would have ended the Electoral College and would have allowed the popular vote to go forward. Now, I'm a popular vote guy. I believe that 1-to-1 should be our voting power. You and I are one man. We vote what way we want. Whoever wins, wins. But I think that a lot of Republicans have always been against it because, let's just be honest, the last time they won with the electoral or with the popular vote was Reagan 84. They haven't had a popular vote win since 84. And I don't think they did themselves any favors. Even if Trump were to win the election, he's going to lose miserably by the popular vote. He's not going to be able to blame it on bad voting or Mexicans this time. He's just going to lose it hard. Even if and that's just it is. That's what I don't like about the election is you have to, you shouldn't have to win a certain way or in a certain set of places to just win. You should have to fucking win. I mean, win. I'm a quarterback. We don't get to kind of win. You either win or lose.
Right. Right.
So for an old football dog, I don't understand the Electoral College. No, and I've actually been arguing it since debate and essay writing classes in high school, bro. I've been arguing against the Electoral College because when it was explained to me that it gave voting weight to places that were less populated, I guess to make it fair, I was like, so you're lowering my vote because I chose to live in a city. You're lowering the power of the weight of my vote because I chose to live in a city. Right. And then at that point, you can just win in the right place and you win. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I think that if you can't win the game, you can't win. You know what I mean? But anyway, so I'm going to let you go because I got to wrap up the show. I really appreciate you being on here. And I really appreciate
you having me, man.
No, I appreciate you coming on and supporting conservatives, even if you're still unsure. Thanks a bunch, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all. Love everybody.
We need to go fishing. We need to go fishing. Like I'm telling you, screw these politics.
Want to shake off that lockdown look? Or do you need a clean cut for work? Then stop by Durango Barbershop on Astrazon and Academy. Durango Barbershop is open 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. Military, ask about our discounts too. Walk-ins are welcome always. Make an appointment, call Durango Barbershop at 719-231-3619. Durango Barbershop on Astrazon and Academy. Stop in for a cut or styling with one of our many great people or set an appointment by calling 719-231-3619. Durango Barbershop. Hey, it's locally owned. Apothecary Farms is the premier cannabis dispensary on the Front Range. When you think concentrates in Colorado, you think Apothecary Farms. With locations in Pueblo, Colorado Springs, and Denver, it is clear why Apothecary owns the cannabis concentrate game. How do you get your diamonds, shattered, butter sauces, and come on, ambrosia? Just look up Apothecary Farms on Google or Weedmap. Get the best in concentrates. Don't hesitate to stop at Apothecary Farms.
Hey, Southern Colorado, when it comes to getting your shirts made and printed and also designs on other products you want,
Sick Tees.
Southern Colorado has the premier shirt maker and designer. That's right, it's sicktees.com. Tell them.
Sick Tees.
And where can you find?
sicktees.com.
At sicktees.com. That's SIKTEEZ.com.
sicktees.com.
Your mom
Sick Tees
has proudly sponsored Wake and Bake America for 4 seasons.
And we're back, of course, from break. Again, I want to thank Newbie, Mr. Newbie from Louisiana. He served in the military, and he serves the shit out them lakes with some fish. Let me tell you, man, I really want to go fishing with this dude and just sit around and talk about smallmouth, big mouth, bass, catfish, this fish, that fish, tell fishing stories where the fish might have really been that big, but it might have not been, and you're never going to really know. So, again, here we are, another episode, another person, another show, another friend and fan of the show, who we don't agree ideologically on specific things, but overall, I think we see more of a parallel view of America, more of a parallel view of the United States, more of a parallel view of what we should and could and potentially do. Contrast. We don't necessarily agree on who is the right person, right people for the job. Coincidentally, we do agree that maybe nobody should be doing the job. I'm not saying get rid of the government yet. No, seriously, I'm not saying get rid of the government. I just think that the government, here's the thing is, there's a lot of oversight on us as Americans. There's a lot of oversight on life for us. There's a lot of regulation on people, but we don't regulate as hard anymore how businesses treat us. We don't regulate as hard anymore, well, hell, how the authorities, the police even treat us. Government agencies treat us. We seem to have lowered the bar on how we treat the people. But you know what we've raised the bar on? And we both agreed on this. We've raised the bar on how you, the individual, are held accountable. The justice system, for instance. Everything's a fucking crime. I had a drug problem for a few years. Over my life, of more than a couple, I finally dealt with it. But prior to dealing with it, I'd always end up relapsing back into some cycle of addiction. With a very specific drug. I've never really had a problem drinking. I could go have a couple beers with my buddies, no problem, go home, never think about it for a month if I don't want to. I've had the same bottle of vodka hanging on my wall in my kitchen for 4 months now, and it's still half full. And I even took it camping, so let that sink in. When I tell you that when you have an addiction with something, it's that thing, and you just need to stay the hell away from it, that's true. I helped fight my addiction with pot. That's something we can agree on. So did Mr. Medicated Cajun, who got put on a fuckload of pills, which is still just the irony of America. My drugs are so good for you. Big Pharma says that. But pot's bad. Big Pharma lobbies against it. But then goes out and tries to secure patents for medical pill versions of cannabis. Something else we can agree on. We didn't get into that, but he knows what I'm talking about. It gets back to the irony of life. As one of our viewers is talking about right now, we aren't even treated as people anymore. And they're right, we're not. Sad, really. We're inventory. If you're a fan of the show, or you're a fan of my podcast, or you're a fan of my morning show that's on Monday through Friday on Blaze 98.5 and AM 1040 across all of Southern Colorado, 95.7 Manitou Springs. Love shouting them out. But at the end of the day, I really think about it, I'm like, we're inventory. We even have a barcode, which is your social security number. You're worried about being tagged or ID'd. You've been tagged since birth. You're not allowed to exist here if you haven't been tagged, like cattle. We're inventory. See, that's something that no matter whether Medicated Cajun thinks that Trump's the right guy for the job, thinks that Jorgensen's the right girl for the job, thinks that no one's the right person for the job, doesn't matter. Because we're still going to just be inventory. We provide, finance, and we're inventory for it. We live in a country that says no taxation without representation. It was our battle cry for independence. We didn't want to pay tax on tea because people in England didn't have to pay the same tax, and it was bullshit. The king was taking advantage of us. Well, just because their name isn't king doesn't mean they're not acting like one. I'm Mr. Trey. Stay political. Stay stoned. Be politically stoned. Are you ready to get turned up, lit, and whatever it is, or even boot, scoot, and boogie? Then you need to come down to Copperhead Road every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and hang out with your boy and the Wake and Bake America crew. Ladies night, we got you. Friday night, come on, we got you. Saturday night, don't miss the all-ages party. That's every weekend, a half a block south of North Carefree on Academy. That's right, come hang out with the Wake and Bake America crew. Your boy, Mr. Trey, on the ones and twos. We got hip-hop, we got country. Why go anywhere else when it's all at one spot? That's right, Copperhead Road.
Copperhead Road.